If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Don't do that.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
Yes, to buy our merch.
Yes.
My neck is okay. It actually doesn't even hurt at all. I just had to do that to add it to the troll.
That's right.
If you are watching the live stream, if you back this up like a minute or two before the commercial.
She's the devil.
I trolled Vin, and it was actually fun. So there you have it.
Yeah, so if you notice the cute little baby at the beginning of this video, we've got a villager. You guys know that we're pro-life, but we put our money where our mouth is, dear listener.
Do.
And so there's going to be a baby registry. Put it in the comment section. We'll put it in the thingamajiggy. And you can just click on it, peruse there. The baby is due in July. And we've already been able to get 28 items off of that list for her, which is really, really, really awesome. Shout out to all my villagers for doing that. But now the time has arrived.
We are doing Jinjer-Mediator.
Jinjer-Mediator.
Oh, and we've got the live video that we're playing on the side, so
let's do it.
As requested by the
Rider Wolf. It's official to me, man.
babe. Go! That's the official. Wow.
What do we have to do to get a piece of you?
Wow.
That is very, very fascinating. Shout out to Jinger, or Jinger, however you pronounce it. They're actually Ukrainian. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they stopped for a little bit to help out or something to that effect. But.
Wow.
Obviously, prayers out to them and their folks, because they're obviously going through it at this moment, dear listener. What year was that song written?
2021.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. What's fascinating about this song? I knew she was going to go into the death vocals or the barf vocals as
Amy calls them.
Amy calls it. So I knew that was going to happen, or I guess it was going to happen, because she starts off with kind of like that jazzy voice, and then but I didn't notice when it happened. It was very, very subtle, the transition from going, like, they made a big splash. I forgot the name of the first Jinjer song, but they came out one summer, and like everybody was reacting to them. Everybody's like, you got to react to
We
Jinger.
did too, right?
Yeah, we reacted to it with a J. Like, we reacted to it eventually. I generally, like, I was trying to get away from everything everybody else is doing.
Was it Vortex?
No.
Pausing Death? A plus or a minus?
I don't know the name of the song.
I'm pretty sure it was Vortex.
It wasn't Vortex.
Okay.
I don't know the name of the song, but I know what it's not. It was Pisces.
Oh.
That was the name of the song. And it was like a very, like, sharp break from the melodic jazzy Jinjer to Wah! And everybody was like, because it just created this massive reaction, and so everybody was
I do remember
it.
that, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I was kind of scared. I didn't want to do it, and finally, like, there's so many people in the comment section, they're like, you got to do it. So it was like, okay, fine, we did it, and we were taken off guard because it was kind of jazzy and cool, and then it was like bang. But this one, I'm not gonna say like they grew, because I haven't listened enough of their music to say that they grew. But this one, the transition from the jazzy vocals to the heavy vocals was a lot more subtle. I couldn't tell when it
I
was
would agree
happening.
with that. I definitely agree with that.
I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure that when her dress switched, that's when the vocals switched.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really liked that dress that she was first wearing. I was like, ooh, I want one. I'm going to pull up the lyrics up here.
My wish would be to see the sun shining, to hear these birds singing, children
laughing, hearts recovering.
My dream has always been, life has always seemed to be an amusement park, rather colorful than dark.
I liked that part.
How come?
Because, well, that's how I prefer life to be, like more colorful than dark. So when she did that part, plus she was wearing the more colorful dress, I don't know. Well, she said, my dream has always been, life has always seemed to be an amusement park, rather colorful than dark. So it's interesting because she's starting out by saying it's her dream that it would be that way, but then she said, but it's also been her experience.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, if I look at the overall of my life, I would, I guess, also agree with that too. Really funny. It really depends on which aspects of your life you look at, because you can look at stuff that makes it very colorful, or you can look at stuff that makes it very dark.
Well, yeah, but the other thing is that sometimes you can look at something that's really dark and see a lot of color in it. A lot of what we perceive a lot of what we perceive something to be is based on our presuppositions.
Right.
It's what your beginning assumptions are, which we just did that with the brainstorm and green needle thing. Mm-hmm. If you presuppose that it's saying green needle, it's saying green needle. If you presuppose that it's brainstorm, it's saying brainstorm for 90% of the populace.
Yeah.
And so when you're a child, you think, especially if you come from a loving home, you think everybody's a certain way. So even if they're bad, you're like, oh, they're really good. They're just misunderstood. Mm-hmm. I think that's like a big thing for people to like reconcile themselves to, is just is human evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that there are genuinely evil people who are completely understood very well, they're just bad.
Yeah.
I think people have a really, really, really hard time with that. I think people have a hard time like coming to grips with that. So they always try to find some other, you know, psychological or external explanation instead of an internal explanation that just says, no, that motherfucker, he's just a bad person.
Yeah, I also think that it's hard to accept the fact that all people are evil. All people do. I mean, the Bible says that we're all quick to shed blood. That verse is extremely hard for me to really accept, because I don't believe that about myself yet. And I don't believe that there's certain other people that I'm like, well, that's not that person. They're not quick to shed blood. You know what I mean? Like, so like, like Zoe, or, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know that seems like a little bit of a weird, but but at the same time, like, I don't know, like, but anyway, so I was thinking about that, you know, specifically today, almost every single day, actually. I've been watching a lot of true crime, and I do a lot of thinking when I watch true crime stuff, because I'm like, how did this situation happen? How did the person get into this situation? How did the person that was the victim allow this to happen to them? And then you flip it and you're like, how did the person that do this? And it's just like a lot to like, and the only way that I can understand any of it is by using the Bible and putting that around it, that people are quick to shed blood, that everybody has like that evil inside of them. And if God doesn't help us with it, then, you know, good luck to all of humanity, RIP, you know. But I guess, not even sure where I was. Oh, so it was funny because so Vin wasn't even supposed to have kids. Like, from when he was young, they told him he was never going to have kids. And he like has babies all the time. Like, you've had so many kids. And it's just unbelievable that, like, our house is full of children and you weren't even supposed to be able to have kids. And I was thinking about that today. And I was thinking about how, well, in the Bible, it says that, like, kids are a blessing and that they're actually a gift from God. And you know, when I think of gifts, I think of like someone that you love and is very special to you, you give them gifts. And so I was thinking, okay, so Vin is particularly loved and special to God, and he keeps giving him the gift of children. And and then I thought of someone else that I really don't like right now. And they had a lot of children. And God was like, what about this person? I gave them many gifts. And I'm like, yo, you're right. And I don't feel like they did a good job with those gifts, you know? And so it was just like a weird sort of like the way that people are simultaneously, like that person's life, like I'm looking at a certain piece of that person's life and I'm resenting them for their evil.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at like, that's not all they were.
Yeah.
That's not the totality of their life. Like they did a lot of good things in their life as well. And whether or not that was motivated by satisfacio and trying to make up for their bad, or it came from their heart, how am I supposed to know? And so I don't know, like just it's a weird thing to think about, like just, you know, I don't know, perceptions and how you look at things, you know, like the amusement park, rather colorful than dark, like how you're gonna look at it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I wanted a loser to win. The thin never starving. The full not keeping it down and needing nothing from no one. So, like that is really, really fascinating.
I think it's fascinating when you compare it to where she went further down in the song.
Exactly. I wanted the poor to live in abundance. I wanted the rich to have someone except for himself to love and take care of.
Because a lot of times people don't think of both sides.
Right.
Like people are like, yeah, we should, you know, everybody wants to care for the poor, but then, you know, basically fuck the rich, you know, because I think it comes a lot of times from our jealousies or whatever, because you see somebody living it up and their life looks so easy because of the money that they have and stuff like that. Like there was a certain channel for a while that like really annoyed me. Remember that it was a kid's channel and the kid was like loaded with all these presents. They had this giant house and all that stuff. And I'm like, and instead of being like, well, you know, good for them, they've made it. You know what I mean? And instead, like, it was like annoying me and I didn't really even process why it was. And then like after a while, I think I was like, I'm pretty sure that this is coming from some like covetous jealousy or something, that, you know, these people have like one child and all of this. Well, we have 6 kids. We should have all that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But it's not how the world works. But so I liked it that she, you know, it seemed as though she had grown and she was not just thinking about the poor, but also what is the need of the poor is that they would not be hungry, that they would be full, and that they would have what they need. Yeah. And then what is the need of the rich? Well, a lot of times the rich are lonely, because how can you have a real friend when you have so much money? It's very difficult.
My bloody Vlad.
Bloody Vlad.
Bloody Vlad. It's one of my favorite people on the planet. Yeah, no, I agree. You know, it's that Bob Marley quote. There's some people that are so poor, all they have is money.
Right.
You know, like, so she had a very, very idealistic world that she lived in. Mm-hmm. You know, I wanted the loser to win. And then it says, fire's burning all around us and all we feel is cold. And again, she's Ukrainian, you know, and even before this entire shit popped off, you know, it was not easy for them at all.
Yeah.
At all, especially after they left the USSR. So they came up from a very, very difficult life. I want a neighbor, not a hater. And a head to go around from white snow, but what to do now?
This next part was pretty crazy.
I wish I could catch God by the beard and drag him to these dirty streets to show him what was going on, the kind of curse we've waged upon.
I think that, well, I mean, Jesus did. God did come, and, you know, he came as a baby, and when you look at the details of his birth, it's pretty weird. Like, when we think about it, like, oh, you know, he was born and he was wrapped in swaddling clothes and laid in a manger. Like,
yeah.
we've romanticized what it actually was. if you've ever been to a farm and you've seen an animal trough, it's disgusting. And that's what he was laid in.
Yeah.
And the swaddling clothes, to my understanding, was basically what they would use to wipe the animals after the animals had their babies.
Yes.
They would wipe them with those cloths. So they were like rags for animals, you know? So he wasn't in a good situation. And then he lived, 33 years in this world, walking and living. He didn't have a home. He didn't have a place to call his own and stuff. And basically, that is interesting. He was basically homeless.
Yeah.
And he had to rely on the kindness of other people. And,
Alden
people aren't
has
always
the
kind.
audacity to ask me, how is this different than Imagine by John Lennon? What? Because it wasn't some... My thing about Imagine was it was just too simple of a song for me. It's just too simple.
I actually can see your connection, though. I do kind of see the connection.
The thing is this is an idealistic person talking about the moment where they lost their innocence and lost their ideals and crying out to God and all the rest of it. John Lennon was more like, imagine if everybody was as enlightened as me and we can live together as one. You can join us.
Rude.
You can join us.
Rude.
To see all the incense and the sweat lodge.
You're
and
rude.
all that. It's a lot different than Imagine. Plus, it's more than 2 chords or whatever. I wish I could catch God by the beard and drag him to the dirty streets to show him what was going on, the kind of curse we've waged upon. We're halfway through to freedom. The path is treacherous. The best way to make a kettle boil is to turn your back on this. Brilliant. Because a watched pot
never boils.
Never boils. Brilliant line. What she's saying is God turned his back on that region, and so now it's broiling over in all this jihad and all the rest of it. So
wow.
It's just brilliant writing.
Yeah.
The best way to make a kettle boil is to turn your back on this. You've stranded me with no decree, no lessons given, only learned. Cold blood is coursing through my veins because ice will never burn. What is happiness? What is inner peace? What do we have to do to get a piece of you?
Wow.
And that you there, I just interpreted as God.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. What do we have to do to get a piece of you or to get your attention? Which I just think is just such a brilliant. So it's very fascinating because you can really break the song into 2 parts. One part is when she was innocent, and then the second part is when she lost her innocence. But even in her lost state, she's still crying out to God. She's still praying. Mm-hmm. If you tell God, I wish I could drag you by the beard and drag you through the streets, that's still a prayer.
Right, you're still talking to him.
And subhanAllah, it's still a valid prayer. So like that, and then she's saying, what's inner peace? Because that's a crazy line where she says she learned, no lessons given, only learned. That's brilliant. Because go ahead.
Well, when she said that line, I thought, the way I interpreted it probably is not how she had put it, but if you give a lesson to somebody else, like, it almost seems like she's not preaching at anybody else. She's not doing, but she's learning from all the lessons that are happening to her. And that's what I got from it. I'm not sure what you got. And I thought to myself, when she said no lessons given, only learned, I was like, that's what I want for my life. And I'm sure other people want that as well, is that there would be no wasted lessons. Like, everything that comes to us is a teaching moment. Whether we're going to accept the teaching or not is up to us. I mean, we see this with our kids all the time. Like, sometimes I'm having a conversation with them because they've done this action that if they do this action, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, when they're in a relationship and they're married, that could be really devastating in a marriage. You can't, there's certain attitudes and outlooks that you have on life that you have to adjust those when you're in relationships, so that way you can have good relationships with people. And I'm trying to talk to them, and you can tell when they're ready to learn and when they have no interest in learning. And I was talking to one of them, and the one they were so closed off to learning because they were so offended. I think that they felt like I was saying, well, they were wrong, And I think that that's all that they could see was that they were wrong. But instead of understanding that to be human is to be wrong, you are not going to be right 100% of the time. You are going to be wrong. And I recognize that in myself. I have a very hard time to admit when I'm wrong, because to me, being wrong sometimes like means something about myself that I don't want to see or feel, instead of just saying, hey, like, this is normal. And this is an opportunity for growth. And this is an opportunity to explore curiosity and grow from it. So like that was it. Like, lessons learned. Like, I want to learn from every lesson. And, you know, they had that, we were watching that corny little movie with the kids. It was like some version of Cinderella. And the girl had really been through a lot. Obviously, it's the Cinderella story. And the guy was saying, like, I thought it was poor timing and a poor choice of words, but I still got what, you know, the message from it, which was, you know, if you've been through everything, it's what you can learn from it that you can give to other people that actually makes it worth it. And I think that when you're in the middle of a situation, maybe that's not the best way to hear it. Like, okay, so I have to suffer so I can help somebody else. Like, maybe you're so selfish in that moment because you're so injured that you don't care about healing other people. Like, you're just so hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But that is a big goal. And I think that anything in my life that I've been able to do that with, it hasn't necessarily completely healed those pains or those hurts, but it does help, and it does bring a certain sense of satisfaction that something good came from the bad.
Yeah. What'd you get the song?
9.4. I really liked it.
This was an 8.8 for me. It's an 8.8 for me. It's a good song. It's decent. It's good. I liked it. It's 8.8 for me. We got the mighty Black Sabbath coming next. Stay tuned, dear listener. Stay tuned. Vin out.
Sori out.
Down.